Coach, thanks a lot for your time. First of all, have you settled down as a national team coach, transition from club to national team level?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's obviously a lot different because I don't get the players on a daily basis. And this is obviously one of the things that not only me but worldwide the coaches never get a chance to see the players on a regular basis. But I've settled down nicely, and of course we've played 2 games, and I'm very happy with the way things have gone so far.
Okay, 2 games. You're talking about Brazil and Mozambique. Just take us through the process. Obviously, you wouldn't have had the players longer than you have wanted to, but you got the result against Mozambique.
Yeah, look, I think first of all, let's talk about Brazil, because I think we need to put this in perspective. The Brazilian team we played against was an absolutely world-class team. You know, they've had 3 players playing for Barcelona, 2 playing for Real Madrid. They all played in the Champions League last night. You know, we went there and we weren't as prepared as we could have been, I suppose. We only had the team for 3 days. But I've got to say that I was very, very happy and very impressed with the attitude, the commitment, and the players, the way they performed out there. You know, it was a really something to start off with. Gave me a lot of hope to know that we can match anybody with the right preparation going forward. We've got a lot of very, very good players in our country, and of course we've got a few abroad as well, you know. So once we put all this together, and as you said, we've got 4 months leading up to the African Cup of Nations. By the time we get to that, I think we're going to be very, very competitive.
Okay, before we get to Nations Cup, just Mozambique, obviously it would have given you an indication of what you've got, the depth you've got in the squad.
Yeah, you must remember, you know, we didn't have the best of luck leading up to both of these games. You know, my first striker caught up, Nomvete got injured. Then I recorded a replacement for him, and Naila from Sundowns, and he pulled a hamstring. You know, then Stephen Pino had to pull out through a thigh injury, and then we had Dino and Glover out, and then we had, you know, it sounds like a comedy, but it's crazy that we had so many injuries. And then of course Benny McCarthy, you know, so I think the guys adapted very, very well, you know, with the replacements that I had to bring in. And the Mozambique game I thought was an excellent game in the sense that we had just travelled over 5 time zones, got back, and we put up a fairly good performance. There were obviously areas we have to improve on, but you know, a win is a win, and it's a way forward, and it's a stepping stone for us to go forward from here.
Okay, on the Nations Cup, less than 4 months to go. What plans do you have? Obviously, what measures do you have in place to make sure that you got the best team for Nations Cup?
Well, you know, this is very, very important to understand that it's still very early days, in the sense that I'm a new coach with the national team, and I want to be very fair in my selection. I want everybody to know that they've all got a chance. We have some very, very and great players in our country, as some of them haven't been given an opportunity. And also in Europe at the moment, there's some very, very good players playing over there. I mean, I don't have to mention Pino. We all know what he can do. De Castro, as you see, is doing a fantastic job at the moment. I think he scored 4 goals in 3 games. You know, then we've got Dino and Glover. We've got Furman, who's come to the party quite nicely, and a couple of good youngsters, you know. So I want to make sure that we spread our wings far and have a look and make sure that come the African Cup of Nations, we are represented by the strongest team possible to play for Bafana Bafana.
Okay, you mentioned players overseas. There are some who have never played for Bafana, but they qualified to play, and it's been out in the media. You are talking to some of the players. What's the progress there?
Well, obviously, you know, I want to make sure, as I said, that, you know, 2 months down the road, I don't get a call from somebody saying that, you know, this player's playing for so-and-so, and you've even looked at him. I want to make sure, you know, and it also, I need to make this very, very clear. It doesn't mean that if a player is playing overseas, that he should be an automatic choice for Bafana Bafana. There's no automatic choices. These players have to be really top players and better than the players I've got in this country. And that's not going to be so easy, you know, because sometimes a player's playing overseas doesn't mean he's better than what we've got here. So at the end of the day, I just want to be fair in that selection and make sure. But there certainly are a lot of interesting players over there at the moment. You know, like there's a player, Ricardo Nunes, who I've seen on DVD. What I've seen so far is very, very impressive. Of course, there's Sermon that everybody knows about, playing for Norwich. We all know he's a top-class player, and you know, I've got to see what the situation with him is, because there's a lot of talk about him possibly playing for the English national team. So I need to have a chat to him. I'm not going to go over there and beg him to come and play for South Africa, but I need to know where we stand with him. You know, does he want to be eligible for selection, or is he totally turned his back totally? And once I know this, then I know where I am. You know, but as I said, I want to make sure that I have a look at a lot of these players.
Okay, Gordon, thanks a lot for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.